Thank you for tuning in to the Phillip Scott Show. My name is Danielle DeVita, and I am a proud contributor. So today we are going to talk about giving bad advice or listening to bad advice. So a lot of times we're listening to bad advice from our meddling friends, and they are not in the position to give that advice. So first, we're going to talk about advice number 1 of 4, and it is to get over someone, go ahead and get under someone. And we hear this often, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. And this is whether it's intercourse or whether just jumping into another relationship. I do believe in my expertise that it is ill-advised because it doesn't give you time to heal, reflect on that relationship so you can be better next time. You're just going from one thing to the next without actually taking the time to pause and reflect. So yes, it's ill-advised. The next bad advice that someone gives is, if what one person wants, the other person will. So sometimes people are telling you, especially if they're your friends, if this person isn't doing this for you, then you can go and get it somewhere else. And this is both men and women. And I think that this is ill-advised because it's flirting and dancing around the idea of entertaining someone else who's giving you something that you want temporarily or in that moment, rather than looking at the whole idea. If you don't like what you have in your relationship, it's better to leave it. You'll gain more respect by leaving a relationship than comparing your partner with someone else or dancing or entertaining someone else, dancing around the idea of entertaining someone else based on what they can give you at that moment in time. All right. And advice number 3 is when someone says, if they don't just do right, just leave them. And I do believe that if someone is not doing right and putting in the effort, you should leave them. However, it's best to have a communication talk. Be transparent. A lot of times we just cut people off and we don't talk with them. And sometimes we could have misinterpreted things, misinterpreted what they said, what they've done, or we did not know. We put our foot in our mouth, and assumptions and all of those things get us nowhere. So it's best to have a communication with people or just kind of have a talk. I saw this and I don't like this, and I think we should part ways. Something. But if you don't entertain the idea of having a real conversation, you're not going to get real positive results for a healthy relationship. And you're wondering why you're going from one relationship to the next and it's the same thing happening. You could be the common denominator, or your inaction to communicate, or your lack of proper communication or healthy communication could be a big factor in that. And I would say number 4, a lot of people are saying another bad advice is what they don't know won't hurt them. And I believe it does hurt. Think of this as, like, for example, and I hate to use this idea, but think of cancer. If your doctor never tells you that you have cancer, well, you're going about your life and everything seems fine until one day you actually find out that you're not in a healthy state. But you may think, okay, well, it didn't hurt me before because I was living my life, but it did, because you could have fixed the issue early on and avoided this very scenario that you're in now, but instead you did not know, and it was deteriorating your body or deteriorating an organ in your body. And that's the same with not letting people know something that's material to the relationship, omitting facts that was necessary in that relationship. And material means important, essential, imperative, that someone knows that. And if you are saying what they don't know won't hurt them, it can. You cheating on them, you doing whatever, you're not telling them something, could be detrimental to their mental health, their emotional health, and sometimes their physical health. And sometimes people, just embarrassment, humiliation is also a form of hurting them, especially once they come into the knowledge of what was not said or done when it should have been done. So what they don't know won't hurt them is not good advice. And I'll give you a bonus. The last advice would be just stop listening to people who are unqualified. And when I say unqualified, some people may have the book knowledge, but they don't have the expertise. They either never been married, never been in a positive relationship or a successful relationship. They have continually failed relationships one after another, or they just don't remain on committed relationships. It's always like a hookup or something that is on a surface level. So they've never had real relationship to draw from, or they just only have textbook knowledge. They just don't have enough experience. And a lot of times when people see me, they think, oh, well, she doesn't have the experience, but that's highly inaccurate, because I've have a lot of experience, not just the fact that I've been married for nearly 13 years, been in a committed relationship for 15, that I've had a lot of situations in my life that I can draw from. And I've coached a lot of people, both men and women, young and old, on things that are happening in their relationship and how we can get through it. So I've been through some of these things. You can see on my channel where I talk about issues that I've gone through, and how I had to later on rely on intuition where I did not before, and some detrimental things happened to me. So take the time to listen to people who are going to give you wisdom and counsel, and they're not out to hurt you. They're not coming from hurt and pain or bitterness. They're coming from the want to help and tell you the truth. So it isn't in my nature to be direct and concise. So I want to give it to you real and raw. But my intention is not to make you feel bad or shameful or anything like that, but to help you want to be better. Why wait till the New Year's to be better? Why not start today to be the best version of yourself? And I include that in myself. I try to be the best wife I can be, the best mother I can be each and every day. All right. So go ahead and post your comments and tell me your thoughts. If you want to know more about what I talk about, then you can go to my YouTube channel at Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I have an Instagram, Mrs. Danielle DeVita, and you can also go to mrsdanielledevita.com. If you're a woman, get on your feminine journey today. Again, thanks for tuning into the Phillip Scott Show. I'm Danielle DeVita, a proud contributor. Take care.